Hi guys, in today's video we're going to make some edible candles. So it's just a quick one today. I'm going to be using some gum paste or some modelling paste. You can use sugar paste if you want. And I've got some fairly pastel colours. These ones are actually part of another video that I created for Bing and Flop for Bing's birthday cake. Now I've just rolled thin some of the colours and I'm going to cut out this almost star shape. I think it's actually a flower cutter. I don't even know whether it's a daisy cutter. I apologise, I can't remember where I got this cutter from. But this is going to create the bottoms of our candle. So remember, you go for like a gum paste or a modelling paste, just like you'd make flowers. And I've got a foam pad. I'm just pressing down with my Dresden tool, or flower and leaf veining tool as you call it. Kind of makes the edges cup up, and then I'm just going to use the other end of this tool. What I'll do is I'll link below the video actually everything I've used that will make it easier for you guys to see what all the tools are called, since I forget the names of them. They're just going to set, and in the meantime I'm going to roll some slightly different colours. I'm going to go for like a pastel colour with a slightly brighter of the same colour for each candle. So I'm going to roll them out nice and thin. Use a cake smoother if you find that you can't get it nice and straight with your hand. And then I've rolled with a rolling pin out some more icing but flat. So for the pastel yellow candle I have used a brighter yellow. Cut it thin and we're going to wrap that around. I've just stuck it on with a little bit of water, or you can use edible glue. Just so we've got a bit of patterning. I'm just going to roll over that again just to make sure it's pressed on nice and firmly. And just cut anything off the bottom and top. I don't need them very big for this one. You can make them bigger, smaller, however you like. Just make sure they firm up a tiny bit before we push a skewer or cocktail stick or toothpick in the middle. Just make sure it's something that's food safe that is going inside. I say these are edible candles. Of course, you wouldn't really want to eat them with the stick inside. And of course, you can just put real candles on your cake. That absolutely would be fine too. But for the sake of this one, I needed edible icing candles. And I'm just going to push them into the bases. I think it looks like the little plastic candle holders that you get for birthday cakes. I've just attached those with water. The wooden cocktail stick through the middle just means it's going to be easy to attach them to my cake a bit later as well. And then we want to add a teardrop shape for the flame end. So I've used pastel yellow. I've kind of squashed it so it's a little bit flatter rather than it being completely rounded. I've just pressed it on the end of that cocktail stick. And then once they feel firm enough, I'm just going to put some edible powder colour. I realise it looks like a makeup palette. I promise it's not. This is an edible powder colour palette. So darker on the edges. Now for the cake I'm sticking them on, I'm also going to put some like mini kiwis. So this is for Bing's birthday cake. So I wanted to make a little replica of Bing's birthday cake. So I've gone with like a really pale green in the middle, then like a brighter green, kind of the colour I think that the inside of a kiwi is, and then a really thin layer of brown. Again, I am using a modelling paste for this one, but you can use fondant, that would work okay. It just will squash a little bit easier. Okay, so let's work on the actual cake itself. So just a small amount of buttercream on there, just to hold my sponges in place. I'm going to go for a chocolate cake. We're just going to pipe a little bit of buttercream in the middle. And I often just use a palette knife and put it in with a palette knife rather than using a piping bag. But I wanted it to look fairly neat around the edges, so doing it with a piping bag and nozzle usually makes it a little bit neater. I say a little bit neater because I'm not overly great with piping. You can see I've not got a very steady hand. And then we can put our top layer of sponge onto the top. Then I'm going to pipe a bit more of the buttercream just around the edges. I want it to kind of wiggle up and down a little bit so that from the side view, it doesn't look like a straight edge. I'm going to smooth it all off then with a palette knife. So once the brown log, as what it will be our kiwi fruit, has dried a little bit, it doesn't want to be fully set because I need to cut into it, but it doesn't want to be super soft because it's just going to squash. I'm going to cut it into slices so it looks a bit like kiwi fruit. Then I'm just going to use a black edible pen and we're just going to put some little black dots on. So it's not like super realistic, but I think for this kind of thing, it works fine. And we're just going to pop those on top of Bing's birthday cake. Then I'm going to push the candles in. So the wooden skewer is just going to help me keep them in the cake. So I've kept these ones nice and small for Bing's birthday cake. But of course you can go for much larger versions depending on what it is you're doing with it. So you can make bigger ones, you can change the colours, go for brighter ones, whatever you fancy. Now I did make more of these and I used these to put on a feature that I did for Cake International. I think I've got a video of some of the stuff I've done at Cake International, but you can see I went for slightly bigger candles, brighter colours. Now I did use a wire inside these ones, guys. Don't use a wire inside your candles if they are going to be used on something that's edible. But this large cake that I've got here, because it was a showpiece, there was no actual cake in it. So it's purely for show and we didn't want too much food waste. So yeah, just place these in using wires. It also meant they were a little bit bigger, but if this was a real cake, I would have swapped for a wooden, like kebab skewer or something that is food safe to go through the middle of them. These ones you'll notice I'm also adding without the flame, and I'll add the flame or the icing teardrop shape to it afterwards once they're in place. So exactly the same again. When you are doing a flame, keep the middle bit the lightest part of the colour, and then as it gets closer to the edge, it darkens. So you can add orange or red around that outer bit, and then we're going to push them in place onto that wire that's stuck out. So just a quick one today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully some of you will find this useful if you need to make any edible candles for your cakes. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos on the YouTube channel, which are a little bit longer and a bit more in depth than this one. And if you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. See you next time.